Hello, beautiful people. My name is Marika Gare, and this is the Inspiration Trilogy. So it's a platform for women to share their stories, advice, and knowledge and support each other through our journey in life. So today's guest is Carly Evans, a transformational coach, energy practitioner, and Reiki master teacher. So you'll be sharing your gifts today, and you have a wealth of experience to offer, I've got to say. So tell the audience a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are.
Well, I was always the kind of kid at school whose friends would just come and chat to them about their problems, and I seemed to be able to say a bunch of stuff kind of naturally, and they'd walk away feeling better, and I'd feel really good that I'd helped them. So
yeah,
it was kind of a natural progression for me to get into studying psychology and get into coaching and get into the kind of career which I've landed myself in, which these days is very much about helping people through times of trauma, recovery from things like addictions, mental health issues. I'm also trained as a law of attraction coach, so I've always got that as a lens on it as well. But I'm very much focused on helping people, I suppose, out of the darkest corners of their minds and their lives, and really becoming the best version of themselves that they can be. That's what I'm absolutely passionate about.
Oh, that's so wonderful, because we can be our own worst enemy sometimes, can't we? Where we have those, feelings of not being good enough, or there might be some kind of triggers from our past or toxic relationships and things like that can bring things up. So, I mean, I know, it's kind of, there's a lot of things out there at the moment on manifesting and, getting your worth and things like that. But it's not just about having those thoughts in your mind and doing those vision boards even and things like that. So really, can you explain a bit more about the full, journey of manifestation, how to make the most out of it?
So I was actually talking to someone about this yesterday, where they were saying that they were doing all of the law of attraction tools, right? And things like The Secret, so the book and the movie The Secret, have made the law of attraction very popular to the masses. But there's lots of other universal laws, right, that people aren't talking about, that work alongside that. And one of the key ones is the law of detachment. So you can be doing all the manifesting tools that you want, but if your vibration is off and not aligned with that tool, then you're going to be attracting a bunch of things that you don't want still. So what I see a lot of people doing is saying, okay, I've written my goals, I've done my vision board, I've got clear about what I want, but they're also doing this thing where they're going, it's not here yet, it's not here yet, it's not here yet. And so what that does is send totally mixed messages, in terms of a vibration out to the dudes in the universe who you have told, you've put your order into the universe. It's kind of like saying, going to a restaurant and ordering whatever you want for dinner, and then going to the chef while he's cooking your food. It's not here yet, it's not here yet, it's not here yet, which is just going to slow down the whole process. And it's like you're not believing that thing will be delivered to you. And Abraham Hicks talked about this really well when they were talking to someone in their audience about how they wanted Mr. Right, but they wanted them right now. And Abraham said, well, do you want Mr. Right, or do you want someone right now? Because those two people may be two very different people, right?
Yeah.
So it's all about saying what you want, like getting really, really clear on what you do want, and then just surrendering it and saying it's going to show up at the exact right time. And all you need to do then is focus on raising your vibration and keeping it as high as possible, which is different on every given day. Like we were just saying how, neither of us are feeling 100% today, but you still put in 100% of whatever it is that you've got in the tank. Yeah. I'm feeling about 60%, bit run down with a cold, but I'm going to show up and give you 100% of that 60%. So it's also about being kind to yourself, and giving yourself a break, knowing what you want, but also resting in between.
Yeah. And things take time. It's just, the universe will bring it to you when you're ready and when the time is right. Like you were saying before, if you're asking for your perfect partner and you want them now, they're two separate things, or you could end up with the right partner, but it's not the right time for him, so it wouldn't work. So, there's lots of different, aspects to it. So how would you suggest for people to raise their vibration and to really help during those times?
Do whatever floats your boat, whatever fills your cup, and that's different for everyone. I've actually got a document, like a free PDF. If anyone wants it, then just comment better. It's called 18 Ways to Feel Better Now. And it's just a list of ideas, you know, because when you're feeling really crappy, it takes a lot of energy to think about what to do to feel better. So there's this list that I kind of created, which you can keep adding to. When you're feeling good, you know what helps keep you feel good. But when you're not feeling that good, you're kind of like, oh, what shall I do to feel better? You know, so things like, well, for me personally, it's going to the beach. It's watching a comedy. It's hanging out with my amazing little squishy dog. It's, you know, it's having a cuddle with my fiance. It's being in the sunshine. Times where I've been in depression, which I've had a couple of times, you know, things take a lot more energy to do when you're in that kind of vibration. So I literally would lay in the sunshine and just listen to Louise L. Hay affirmations all day long, or Abraham Hicks, because my brain couldn't summon up the energy at that point when I was really feeling not good, to think positive thoughts, or to think about, you know, putting in the energy to doing something. So I just lay there and just focused on what I was absorbing into my brain, you know. So everyone knows the kind of people and places and things that lift you up. So do more of that. That's what will keep your vibration the highest it can possibly be. And doing things like energy work, things like kinesiology, any kind of energy work, Bowen, Reiki, going for a massage, a foot rub, getting your nails done, anything like that, you know, anything that makes you feel like you're looking after yourself.
Yeah. Because you're actually a Reiki master as well, aren't you? Or do you still do Reiki, or are you just teaching at the moment? You do.
Yeah, no, so I still do energy treatments as well. I call them energy treatments because it's not just Reiki. So there's about 4 different frequencies of energy that can come through when I'm doing a treatment. And I prefer the term treatment rather than healing, because a lot of people, I don't know, for me, the term healing and being a healer is like I'm healing someone, whereas I'm facilitating an energy treatment in the best way that I know how. And then that person's body is choosing whether or not to accept the healing. So they're very much an active participant in that process. There's psychic surgery techniques that I've learned in the last year as well, that I've kind of added to that. And I use the pendulum a lot. I'm scoring the chakras. So it's very different to a standard Reiki treatment. I call it Reiki because a lot of people know what Reiki is. So it's kind of an easy way to talk about it. But then I explain it in the way that I just did with you. And I've been teaching Reiki and advanced healing techniques for nearly 17 years now. So
making
me feel old.
And so you mentioned psychic surgery. What's that for those who haven't heard of that before?
Sure. So one of the books that I like, the number one book that I recommend for people to read when they're interested in energy work, is by Barbara Brennan. It's called Hands of Light, and she died in the last year, but she teaches not specifically about Reiki, but healing through the human energy field. And one of my mentors who I've been learning with in the last year, Christoph, he's learned directly underneath her. So it's things like restructuring the chakras, restructuring the organs on an energetic level, removing stress webs, and kind of working with the, there's like an axis in the body that keeps the body locked down in a pattern of stress between the adrenal glands, the hypothalamus, and the pituitary gland. And the adrenals can kind of kick out these energetic stress webs that wrap around various organs and body parts and that kind of thing, and that it just keeps you in a pattern of stress. So that comes up as a very common theme when I'm working with people in terms of removing those. And I also learned how to clear coronavirus from the body, from the energetic system, and also on COVID vaccine clearings as well, which is a difficult one to talk about without getting banned off YouTube.
And so what about, because I say that past traumas, which is sort of relative to what you're mentioning, so things like, you know, car accidents or PTSD, or for whatever reason, these traumas can, I guess, they're right into the depth of the cells in your body. So is that something that is involved in that kind of work as well, removing that? Because absolutely. Even though you've done the work within your mind, I mean, I've been through multiple traumas myself, including a major car accident, head trauma, blah, blah, blah. I say blah, 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 because I've been talking about it a lot during my channels. But, you know, there are times when, you know, the anxiety or whatever from the PTSD can sort of rear its head. So there's, that clearing that needs to be done through the cells. So
absolutely. Yeah. And really the nervous system, right? Like it becomes a nervous system response. And I've had a chronic pain issue for the last 11 years since I wrote off a motorbike and landed on my head. And it took a few years for me to realize I've got a bulging disc or a couple of dodgy discs in my neck as a result of that. But I've also come to realize that it's 90% when it does flare up, and there's pain there often. Most days there's some level of pain there, but the times when it really flares up, I've noticed, are 90% stress related or emotional related, and 10% I might ping it in the gym or do something where I've triggered it physically. But what I've really come to understand is that it's a nervous system response way more than it's a physical body response. So we can have these physical injuries and we can have things like PTSD, but what really triggers it is when our nervous system becomes flared up, heightened, triggered in whatever way, you know. So I'm really, really good at risk assessing and being in really dangerous, chaotic situations. I've been used to it throughout my career. But, you know, I can be at home relaxing with my partner and he drops a knife on the floor, and that will trigger my nervous system way more than being in the middle of someone having a fight in front of me, for example, you know. It's really, really interesting what happens with your nervous system when you're in what you regard as a safe space where you're relaxing, right? So yeah. So I very much, whether I'm coaching or doing energy treatments, and sometimes I'm kind of mixing them both together. So what is really beneficial is to have a coaching session where, you know, we might do some kind of energy work like EFT, emotional freedom techniques, so tapping, or QFT, which is quantum freedom technique therapy, where it's still kind of an energy based thing. And we're talking about the trauma, or what led to the trauma, what led to the limiting beliefs, you know, and what's still there from childhood that needs to be resolved. And then I kind of see it like static in your energy field. And then to follow that immediately with an energy treatment to actually work on that same goal, but in an energy treatment, is really, really interesting to see what comes up within that treatment and the psychic surgery techniques. So I've seen like daggers in people's hearts from how they died in a past life, but also in relation to relationship breakups in this life with the same person. So it gets really, really interesting.
That's fascinating. Wow. Also, you're sort of in touch with past lives, and you can see, I guess, the whole depth of the soul within people. That's truly amazing. So you say that you've been in this sort of, I guess, industry or on this path for quite some time. Was it 16 or 17 years, did you say?
Yeah. Yep.
So what really, I know you said that you're always the sort of person to kind of help people and you really love doing that sort of thing, but what sort of led you on to really follow that path and make that change to, you know, become a Reiki master and all the other gifts that you have?
Well, growing up, I kind of saw, you know, I saw all these things around me. Like, you go to school, you get good grades, you go to uni, you get good grades, you hopefully work in a job that you like, earn enough money to buy a house so you're in debt for a long time, hopefully find a partner who you love enough who you might knock out a couple of kids with. And then I saw all these, you know, it's not that I didn't want to follow the standard kind of, you know, the standard things that are supposed to happen in life that, you know, society kind of dictates should be the path that you follow. But I don't know, there was like this growing kind of hole. Like, have you ever felt like an empty kind of feeling around, like it's your solar plexus chakra, so it's kind of around like your ribs, you know? And I just felt like this, looking back to my 15-year-old self from where I am now, it felt like a longing or an urge or like this pull in a direction that wasn't just what I was seeing. And I felt like there is more to life than this, but I don't know why I feel that way. And I don't know what it is. And I wasn't having conversations with anyone around me. I didn't grow up around anyone that was spiritual, but I had this thing that was just all these questions. So I was really philosophical when I was younger. And I remember sitting on my bed and trying to imagine what it was like when you die, not in a morbid way, but like trying to imagine
understanding.
Like just thinking, okay, I feel like I'm more than just this physical body. So what happens to the part of me that's not this physical body when we die? Because it didn't make sense to me that I just didn't exist anymore. And I thought, what's the meaning of life? Like, why are we here? And all these questions really did my head in when I was, you know, going through puberty. And
yeah.
And then I met a bunch of people in London who I regard as my soul family, who did, so a few of them did things like Reiki, and they were doing all these personal development type courses, and one of them gave me a book called The Celestine Prophecy, and that kicked off my journey. Yeah, so that kicked off my journey into personal development. And I realized, like, we spent a whole weekend together. It felt like catching up on this lifetime. It was the first time in my life where I had, you know, met more than one person. Like, it was a big group of people where we literally felt like we'd known each other forever.
It's such a fabulous feeling when you meet, I don't know, your kindred spirits.
Yes, yeah. And so for the first time in my life, I felt like there were also people that were thinking like me. So I didn't feel on my own with it anymore. And I realized, okay, so there's books that talk about this stuff. I'll go and read a book to answer a question, and I'd come out with 20 more questions. And so that's really what got me into it. And because a few of them did Reiki already, we explored things like body wisdom, and one of them did a treatment on me, and that was it. I was hooked. That's kind of how I got into it. So, and then I've just never stopped.
It's such a fascinating journey, and I've always been quite philosophical myself. I went through severe, I guess, health issues when I was younger. I nearly died, and I was a teenager. I was 14, 15, and I was the same. What's the meaning of life? Why do these things happen? Why do they happen to me? What happens when we die? All these kind of stuff. But it's such a beautiful path to learn about and really understand why we are here and our journeys in this life at time and the previous lifetimes. It's just, I mean, I personally find it fascinating. I know a lot of, like yourself, and a lot of others do as well. So something that I also wanted to touch on, because I've been looking at your YouTube videos as well. So you talk about assemblage points. So can you explain to the listeners what that is?
Yeah, this is, I think, one of the most important parts and interesting parts of the energy field, and one that not a lot of people know about. Okay, so I came across this in 2010 during an energy course that I was learning called Lux or Light, and we went to Egypt to learn this. It was amazing.
Wow.
And so everything that is energy, and this is quantum physics now, right? Like everything that is energy spins around, it oscillates around a central point. And ours is called our assemblage point. And for men, it's directly out from the center of the chest. So out directly from the heart chakra. For us women, it's kind of in between the thymus and the heart. So just slightly above the heart chakra. That's where it should be. And then our whole energy field spins around that central point. But most of the time, I don't find it in the right place in people. And it could have been out for years and years and years in people, sometimes from birth, depending on what's happening.
You frozen. All right, just for the listeners out there, we seem to have a bit of a glitch in the system, but Carly will be back soon. So look, there you are. You just froze for a minute, so you'll have to repeat everything you just said.
All right, so where did I get to?
Just at the start, it cut out.
Okay, so everything that is energy oscillates around a central point. And ours is called our assemblage point. So for men, it's directly out from the heart chakra, which is in the center of the chest. And for us women, it's slightly above that. So that's where it should be. Most of the time, I don't find it in the right place. So it can be out in people for years and years, and sometimes from birth, I've seen it out in people. And so if you imagine that the central point of your energy field is spinning in completely the wrong place, and lead you to have various symptoms, right? So the kinds of things that can knock it out are accidents, illness, injury, prolonged stress or illness, shock, trauma. I've seen everything from you get rear-ended in a car to relationship breakup, moving house, moving country. Everyone's got a different resilience bucket as well. So what
probably had all of those things you mentioned.
So what throws one person out may not throw another person out, right? So depending on where I find it, you get various symptoms. Often I find it kind of way above the head, and this is the area of excess mental energy. So just 24/7 switched on, stressy head, overthinking. Out to the right is, I'm not sure which side is right on the screen, but if it's out to the right, that's very kind of angry symptoms. If it's kind of above the right shoulder and like up diagonally, then it's kind of anxiety, manic panic stress. Out to the left of the body and far left is
All right, we will be back in a second. So we're talking about the energy fields of the assemblage points, which I've never heard of before. It's absolutely fascinating. You cut out again there.
oh no,
Which is, that's okay. So you were saying you did the top and the right, and you were just saying, so to the left, if you could just
yeah, so to the left is like the autism spectrum, which is really interesting when you readjust someone's assemblage point and they're autistic. On the spectrum, as it's now kind of referred to, they can have massive changes in their behavior as a result of that. So it's really interesting. And then anything below the hips is what's known as the gap. It's kind of the danger zone. It's real low physical and mental energy. So things like chronic fatigue, depression, those kind of things are very much down in that direction. So when you readjust someone's assemblage point and bring it back to the correct alignment and then check how long it's been out of alignment for, it's really interesting, because I could know absolutely nothing about someone and then say, what happened to you 4 years, 6 months, 2 weeks and 5 days ago? And they'll just either go, oh, I'm going to have to think about that. And they usually figure it out within about 24 hours. Or they go, how did you know? Like, I've had someone just burst out crying and say, how did you know what happened to me? And I'm like, I don't. I'm asking you what happened then. You know, and that particular person had lost a baby around that time. So she had been not the same since. And that's another kind of indicator that your assemblage point might be off, is that you just haven't felt the same since a particular thing happened, which is very common in things like PTSD and depression and things like that.
And grief and everything. I mean, there's so many things in life where it changes us for good, but some stay with us, I guess, longer or permanently. So that's absolutely fascinating. That's wow. So you just amaze me. I love the work that you do. It sounds fascinating. I definitely want to come for a session.
Yeah, do it. I'm here.
And so for everyone listening today, so what do you have on offer at the moment, or what do your services, what's out there for people to access?
So I teach all levels of Reiki. So Reiki 1, Reiki 2, Reiki Master Teacher. And then I also teach advanced healing techniques, which is where I teach like extra chakras. I teach about the assemblage point, how to find it, how to adjust it, how to kick out what I call bad juju, like negative entities, negative thought forms, other things that might be impacting your energy field. I teach in advanced healing techniques, which I've actually got on this weekend. That's one of my favorite ones to teach. And then I do energy treatments, both in person and distant healing as well, where you get a really comprehensive report and a card reading with that too. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, I can help you out. And then coaching as well, either in person if you're in Perth, or online via video call. And very much, I mean, we can coach on anything, right? Like I'm working with someone in New Zealand, and he's been my client for 9 years. He's very goal focused, like runs successful businesses. And we check in every 2 to 4 weeks, because he's always working towards his goals. And I've got other people who I'm working with them very much on trauma and addictions and recovery from all of those things. And then, like I said before, combining coaching with an energy treatment is really powerful. So that's like a 2-hour session, which is a really cool place to start. You can get so much done in those sessions. And then I've also got an online coaching program called From Surviving to Thriving. That's like a 6-module program. Once a year, I plan to run that live. So we do that over a 6-week period. And I've got a private Facebook group where we kind of all plug in and support each other. And we run those sessions via Zoom every week. And then I'm also about to launch a new money manifesting and clearing debt workshop, which I've been working on for the last few months, which is a new bit of a new venture for me. And that's
very significant at this point in time with the economy and everything.
Exactly. And that was very much born out of a place for me of being in a world of financial pain, back in 2018, but building towards that, just not managing money properly, and like a lot of people do, just getting themselves into debt with credit cards and shuffling money around onto 0% credit cards, and you've got a mortgage and you've got a car loan and kids and all that kind of stuff. And it's been a journey with that. So I just kind of want to share. I'm no financial advisor, so that's the disclaimer there, but I want to share with people how I use the law of attraction, law of detachment, very practical strategies to clear debt, release money trauma and limiting beliefs around money as well, and then really kind of move towards clearing the debt completely and working on savings.
Awesome. Oh, well, you've got so much to offer. Like I said, I think the work you do is amazing. I'm totally fascinated, and I definitely want to see you and get more. So look, for everyone out there, what's the best way to contact you?
So if you're on Facebook, then I've got 2 Facebook pages. One's called Coach Carly and one's called Phoenix Transformation. My website is coachcarly.com. On Instagram, I'm at Coach Carly Evans. And you can just reach me at any of those places.
All right, awesome. And look, listeners, we will be putting all the links below if you want to find out more as well, just in case you missed that for whatever reason. So look, thanks again for our chat today. I love what you do, and I'm sure the listeners will be getting a lot out of today's conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Bye, listeners. We'll be up again shortly.